Naoya Inoue stops Marlon Tapales in the 10th round. It was a hard fight. It went longer than I thought it would because Tapales get dropped in the 4th round. I didn't think that he would be able to recover later on. I felt like he did get dropped early in the fight, which I thought that was something that they kind of didn't recognize. I felt like that 2nd round when he was stepping toward Inoue in the corner, I felt like he got dropped in that part of the fight. I don't think they considered it a knockdown, but to me that was definitely a knockdown. I feel like Inoue had him hurt, and he kind of fell from that. You know what I'm saying? Tapales is basically the fight basically went the way I said in the previews as far as the styles clashing. Now, sometimes I don't try to focus on the stances that much going in because me personally, I used to focus on stuff like that, and it kind of threw off my breakdowns as far as the punches and things like that. But like I said, Tapales, he was hitting with that right hook. He was touching with that left, but he couldn't get out the way of what Inoue was doing. Inoue was too fast. The 1-2 was too fast. Tapales, he was being successful when he was getting to the outside and going to the body of Inoue. See, what messed Tapales up was Inoue had a little bit more movement and lateral movement and head movement, basically. His head movement, lateral movement, was just a lot more than what Tapales was doing. And he was throwing more punches as far as the 1-2 and different things like that. He was definitely going straight down to the body, hurting him. What I didn't like about this fight was Inoue was taking Tapales out of his stance. Tapales usually moves in and out and kind of jumps in and out. He has kind of like footwork like Manny Pacquiao a little bit. But when we come to this fight, he's kind of like walking Inoue down. So I'm just going to be honest. He was nervous from the beginning. He was very nervous. He wasn't really ready for what Inoue brought to the table as far as the power and the speed, because I didn't see Tapales moving like that in the fights that I've seen him in previously. Yes, he has been toe-to-toe and doesn't move much, but for him, in those rounds, like the 7th and the 8th, when he was kind of getting beat up real bad, I felt like he kind of went to what worked as far as his style or what part of his style was working. Because when he started to kind of move out that guard and kind of just put that right hand up and kind of block his face with that left hand, it was kind of working a lot then. But when Inoue started doubling up his punches and when he started doing certain things in the inside, going to the body, the jab, all those things was trouble for Tapales. Inoue was hitting him in too many places. Inoue invested to the body the whole time. One thing I was impressed with about Inoue was he didn't let what Tapales was doing affect him. He kept going to the body. And when you're a fighter like that and you can continually go to the body without a guy slowing you down or trying to stop you, you're trouble. You know what I'm saying? That's a very hard fight for anyone. And that's what really I feel like has Inoue on the pound-for-pound list so high. It's his body work. A lot of guys don't invest to the body like that. He invests to the body from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight. He doesn't really head hunt as much. I felt like Tapales was head hunting, and that kind of hurt him too, because when Tapales was going to the body, he was being successful. And I know Inoue would even tell him that, like, oh, when you was going to the body, you was being successful. But when he was just going to the head and trying to hurt Inoue with a power punch or something like that. He was catching them at times, but it wasn't effective to slow Inoue down. Only thing that would do is make Inoue respond in different ways that Tapales wasn't ready for. And when the hand speed couldn't catch up, when Inoue's hand speeded up and he couldn't catch up to what Tapales' hand speed was doing, he couldn't catch up. He wasn't throwing enough punches. Um, and then when he wasn't throwing punches, he wasn't responding. He wasn't countering to anything. A lot of times these days, guys have to realize, yes, punching a lot isn't your style, but you're still in the fight. You have to respond to certain punches if you're not going to block or get out the way. That's that's almost like a stamina issue. As a combat, in my standards, as a combat athlete, if you're going in there and you feel like you're in a close fight or you need an edge over a guy who's a pound for pound guy, you gotta come in. You gotta come in shape, man. A lot of these guys, like y'all don't see it, y'all think they in shape, bro. He wasn't in tip top shape like he was supposed to. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when he was actually able to move and do certain things, he felt like his legs were heavy and stuff like that, and that's not really good. And to me, that shows like a little age too, like he's getting older. But Tapales wasn't moving like I've seen him in the past. You know what I'm saying? And but anyway, was breaking him down though, had him scared. He wasn't fighting scared. Well, actually, he was kind of to me. Not like as far as he didn't have a chance in the fight. I'm just saying, it's a lot of things I didn't see him do that he's done before. And that kind of made me worry through the fight. Like, okay, well, it looked like he's having good moments in the fight with Inoue. In the 5th and 6th, 7th round, he had to dig in deep and kind of survive after that knockdown. But I don't feel like Inoue was pressing the issue to the point where Tapales was having to fight for his life, basically. But when it came down to the 8th, 9th, and 10th round, I felt like he was kind of certain things. Because even the first knockdown, it wasn't like a flash knockdown or anything. It was kind of like he was just hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like even the last knockdown he had when he was crawling, I don't know if he was hurt as far as to the body and got the wind knocked out of him, which it kind of looked like. It looked like he kind of got the wind knocked out of him, but I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. Because early in the fight when he went down, it wasn't a huge flash knockdown punch, but he kind of just went down. So, I don't know, man. I really don't. I felt like he'll kind of fight to the end, towards the middle of the fight. I thought like, okay, well, he's gotten up. He's made some adjustments. He's trying to make sure that he knows what Inoue's game plan is. And he's seen his best punch, so maybe he can kind of make it through the fight. But even though I had it going like 7th, 8th round, I said maybe he can kind of fight through and do certain things. When he was being aggressive, he was successful. The fact that he wasn't aggressive, he didn't win the fight going out aggressive. He kind of let Inoue tee off on him a little bit. That's kind of disappointing to me. That's kind of disappointing. Because going in a fight with a guy like Inoue, you kind of want to say to yourself, if I'm going to go out in this fight, I want to go out swinging. But that's kind of hard to do, though, against a guy who's top pound for pound. But like people say, and people like to say, well, Inoue isn't doing anything. And as far as I know, he's fighting top competition, especially with this Luis Nery fight possibly happening. That'll be an excellent fight. I feel like Nery will do a way better job than what Tapales is doing. Even though Tapales was successful to the body and stuff like that, he just showed Inoue a little too much respect. He was giving a fist bump after every round. Like, bro, after a while, man, as a competitor, and me knowing the sport, as a competitor, you ain't supposed to be doing that, man. All right, we know you respect each other and all that stuff, but like anyway, he didn't care because he's like, I'm finna knock this guy out. But nah, you can't be showing that much respect, especially in a close fight like that. It's supposed to be toe-to-toe dog fight. You supposed to be saving that energy to raise your hand and throw a punch. For some reason, the fastest punches that Tapales was throwing was at the end of the round when he was touching gloves with Inoue. Go back and look. Think I'm playing. So I'm like, he was fighting scared to me during the fight. I'm like, oh man. Hopefully he can get something done. Right now I'm kind of disappointed in the way he was walking forward in the fight. But Inoue's too powerful though. The uppercuts was kind of made the fight what it was, because at first the hooks was kind of dictating things. But then Tapales, after the knockdown, he kind of was trying to break through the guard and punching through the guard and different things like that. Him and Inoue was punching through the guard. Then they adjusted, changed the guard stance a little bit. They kind of widened their guard. And it was successful for Tapales for a little bit, but he kind of went back to what he knows. And that kind of what hurted him. And I definitely feel like Inoue is at that level now where he can move up, but he probably still has business. It's guys around 122 right now that can still give him some kind of competition. That was a hard fight. Anyway, he was in a tough fight. 8th and 9th, 10th round. 8th and 9th round, I feel like he knew that he was in a dog fight, but he also knew that he had a chance to stop Tapales. Tapales, he got he said he's gonna stay at 22 and do some different things, but he has to realize that when you're in a certain fight, man, you can't sit there and try to take power punches from a guy who's known for stopping people. That's just something you can't do, man. Honestly, and I think that kind of hurt him in the fight. He made a good adjustment. He made the first adjustment, but it only lasted about 1 or 2 rounds, and that's not how you want to go about things when you're trying to win a fight against one of the pound best. So that's something I expected, but at the same time, to get in there and not kind of compete for it. I mean, 2 belts. 2 belts is that's a huge victory. So to just give up 2 belts on you know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I didn't like that knockdown. Not as far as what Inoue did. I'm talking about as far as what Tapales. Like, I feel like he could have fought a little bit more. I definitely do. If that was anybody else, I would be like, bro, you should have got up. Seriously. Because that's why the first knockdown was like that. He had to adjust after the first knockdown. Then, that's why I feel like that second round. That's why I feel like the second round was a knockout. That's exactly why I feel like the second round was a knockout. Because it felt like he possibly tripped over the foot, but the way that Inoue knocked him down the next 2 times, it looked just kind of like the first time. So that's why I was kind of like, I feel like that second round was kind of a knockout. I was kind of disappointed they didn't go back to the replay, so I can kind of see what the knockdown looked like. But that was a hard fight for Inoue. That wasn't easy, as people try to make it seem, or they're gonna try to make it seem. I know they're gonna be like, well, he didn't fight anybody. But he had a hard fight in front of him. He got caught a couple of times where he had to bounce back and do some certain things that he didn't want to because he already had a game plan, but he had to adjust a little bit because I don't know. Tapales came to fight, man. He really did. I can't take nothing away from him. He had a hard fight. I felt like Inoue definitely put in the work as far as to stop the things that Tapales was doing. He made some adjustments, man. He was very impressive. Very impressive. I just didn't like him. Well, of course, I didn't like him getting stopped, but ain't nothing you can really do, man. I mean, he fought a good fight, but like I say, I would like to see him do a lot more than what he was doing. Would have liked to see it because he was close a couple times. He was close a couple times. And that's definitely what Inoue was expecting. Like, okay, he's gonna get in close and do certain things from the outside, but I think I'm gonna make my adjustments and I'll be okay. And which he was. He wasn't really in danger at all. And I thought I thought Tapales was gonna put on more of a performance than what he did because I don't know, man. It was just the things that Inoue was doing. It was just a different level, man. Really was. Whole different level. And then I don't like how Tapales tried to go in there and be a power puncher with Inoue. That was a mistake, man. He went try to go toe to toe with him. It was kind of like I said though. That's the style that he likes. He likes to go. He likes to go and go toe to toe with guys, throw a lot of hooks, and it just wasn't a recipe for success. With Inoue being a two-time undisputed champion now, it's gonna put him up there, man. I mean, he's now solidified as pound for pound number one, number two, and some people number two. Some people feel like he's number one, but in my case, I'll probably say he's number two at this point right now. I just probably have to see a couple of more things, but it really pound for pound really doesn't matter. He could be number one next week. He could be number one today, and in a couple of months, it all changes, man. It's all subjective. He the best at what he does right now, as far as in his area. 122. You could probably say from 126 down, he probably the guy right now. You know what I'm saying? From 126 featherweight down. Inoue kind of the guy right now. So it's not really not much to discuss. I know a lot of people are gonna feel like, well, he should fight Tank right now. Well, Inoue is 122, man. He's far away from 130, 35. He's that position is too far off right now. That's not something that's a 50-50 fight to him right now. In his eyes, especially with the weight disparity. That's what he said, so I know people probably say, well, I feel like he can win. Well, you didn't tell him that. Because he feels like the weight disparity will be a problem, but I don't know, man. I feel like the Neary fight will be a lot more competitive than what we've seen tonight just because of the punching exchanges and different things like that. I feel like I would have wished if Tapales would have moved a little bit. He would have moved a little bit more. It's kind of moving like a heavyweight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I've seen heavyweights move that much recently, so it's kind of like I wasn't too much impressed as far as his lateral movement and different things like that. But most of the stuff he was doing, it made it a good fight. You know what I'm saying? As far as the hooks and the power punches and standing in the pocket, but standing in the pocket cost him the fight in my eyes. Just can't trade with a guy like Inoue like that all day. It's not really a recipe for success, but definitely exciting to see Inoue fight like that. I felt like a couple of times in the last Fulton fight, he's probably going up top too much as far as not going for the he wasn't throwing many looping punches, looking for the knockout. So he was very impressive around this time. I know people probably didn't see the adjustments, but he fought a cleaner fight around this time, which he said he wanted to do. He wanted to box more. He didn't want to go out there and look like a brawler too much. He wanted to stick to just a game plan and look a lot more cleaner and sharper this time, which he did. But that was very impressive. But that's all I got though. Like and subscribe.